G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in over on the west side of the map, we've got Hera, who is going to be playing a little bit of the English. And Fitzbro, could you tell me who is going to be spawning in on the other side of the map?
We have no one other than Corix, and for us two former AoE 3 players, he's a well-known wall lamer. He loves his walls, he loves his Turtle League gameplay, and I think this is exactly why we see him playing as the Roos. He can sit back here and just extremely abuse, I can only assume, these professional scouts.
Yeah, look, for anybody unfamiliar, so as Fitzbro was saying, Corix comes from Age of Empires 3, Hera comes from Age of Empires 2, so we've got essentially a battle of the two Age of Empires players. But Corix was a big lamer back in the day. Anything that was considered lame, he would be doing it. So walls, he'd just be looking to spam pretty much anything that he could essentially gain ELO from. And now, look, there's nothing against that, Fitzbro. I'm going to be honest. I kind of did the same thing back in my day as well. So, I'm not going to hold that against him. But what are you thinking we might see out of him today?
Well, I mean, when you say spam walls, I think people might have an idea what that means. He literally will make hundreds of layers of walls. I'm curious to see if Age of Empires 4, if he's going to do that. But he literally goes ham on walls like you've never seen before. So I would expect at least a few layers of walls, possibly. Probably a fast castle, I can only assume, with some professional scouts. Although he is against the English? I'm not sure. Is English going to harass him early here, or is he going to do some kind of eco play? Not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So I've been sort of theory crafting about what I think the best civilization is against Rus, and one of the answers that I've come up with is the English. And there's a couple reasons why, but the first one is the longbow. So obviously it's the strong part of the English civilization. But for me, the big thing that counters it is Rus players typically, they're going to be making a lot. I'm talking a lot of horse archers in the early game. But as the English, obviously you make longbows, and they're quite effective as a counter because they've got that longer range.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've actually seen a lot of players that go after that horse archer spam pretty regularly, and then not accounting for an enemy actually hard countering it, and they just keep making horse archers. So we'll see if Corix does
it's
that.
Funny that you mentioned that. I have noticed the exact same thing. They keep trying.
What do you mean it's not working? I'm making more.
I saw a game, I can't remember exactly who was playing it, but it was, I think it actually might have been Hera. And Hera was playing against a Rus player, and he's got a giant, massive archers, and the Rus player is just throwing horse archers back at him. Yeah. And Hera's like, I don't know what you're doing, man, but just keep doing it, I guess. Maybe it'll work.
The sad reality, though, is the horse archers are so cost effective. You would think that's a huge investment if those were Mangudai, but they're fairly cheap for how strong they are. So it's not even the worst trade in the whole world. Because that's what I always think about. Is you would think it'd be terrible, but they're rather, I think, cheap units for what they do. Now, I do want to point out, Hera's going for stone, so yeah, I can only assume he's going to be going for an early town center. Corix going up with the Golden Gate, ecoing out. You see a lot of people drop this Golden Gate literally right on top of their town center, and he has spaced out at least behind it.
Yeah, I like that from him. I think it's important to leave that 2-tile gap. There's a couple reasons why people do it. So the first thing is obviously villager walk time. So if you've got to walk 3 seconds to drop your Golden Gate, then that's 3 seconds you're not gathering up food to get up to the next stage. And typically when you're doing build orders like this one that the Rus is going to be doing, it is a very, very tight build order. But interestingly, Corix obviously spots out the mining camp from his opponent and subsequently responds by going for his own mining camp on the stone. So we've got both players potentially looking to go into a second age bin, which is a very curious decision because typically from these Rus players, we will just see a very one-faceted approach, just, professional scouts in a fast castle.
Yeah, that's definitely different. And I did want to just point out, just for those that have not done it before, I mean, maybe one of the reasons he moved his Golden Gate back is some people will choose to leave space for their farms around their town center, and Corix is set up. If you wanted to set those farms, he's in a pretty good position other than that stable he just picked there.
Yeah,
and
so
I did
stable
also
going down on the front
line.
line.
With these, with the wolf play, a lot of players will go out and try to aggro these wolves and bring them back. You can actually see Corix right now has 3 wolves chasing him to the north because those are worth 25 gold apiece if he can return those. Now he's got 4 wolves aggroed.
Yeah, he's really going for it, isn't he? He's got a lot of wolves out here. Hera looking to pick one off. You can see that wolf is down to 9 health, going to be down to 6. He's looking for the last hit on it. He's hovering. There he goes. Does he manage to get it? He gets it.
Corks. No, Corks got it.
Yeah.
He got it.
Cork's looking very strong. Bringing one in for the Age of Empires 3 lamers, and now going to lure them under his town center. We're going to watch as the town center begins to work on these wolves, and you can see how much damage it does to these bad boys as well. 21 health.
Gold.
Yeah, just coming in.
Generating gold.
Nice. Yeah, town center just doing its casual thing, mining. But you can see that Cork is moving towards that second town center. He's basically got enough resources for it now, sitting up at 240 stone, 350 wood. Now, one of the things to note is that with the Golden Gate, you can actually just trade out your resources for stone. So going for the stone mine or the mining camp on the stone mine, it definitely telegraphs what Corex is planning to do, because that's normally one of the advantages that you've got playing as the Rus is you don't really telegraph what your enemy or what you're going to do to your enemy. And so it's definitely given him that. Hera's also expanding out on his double hunts. So I will note that both of his hunts have spawned in the same location. So it's very rare that happens.
Look at that.
Yeah, look, he's got a beautiful spot here. And keep in mind, he's playing the English. So you want to bring any scouts under here, good luck, mate, because they are going to get absolutely shredded by this TC.
Yeah, and there are knights, one knight coming into the stone line of Hera right now. And I don't think longbows will do amazing against this knight, at least. I don't think he's even trained a single longbow. He would need a mass of them.
Yeah.
So these knights are going to be a little annoying here, I think, for a little bit.
One of the curious things I'm seeing as well, Hera's gathered up 225 stone.
Yeah.
It looked like he was almost considering going up to 3.
TC.
Yeah, I think he's going 3 TC as well.
Forgot somehow. Like, that's really the vibe I'm getting. But, I mean, that's... I have seen English players do this, like 3 TC, second age, boom. I've seen a few players go for this, and maybe he's just assuming Rus is sitting back, fast castling. I mean, he does have 2 town centers right now. And thinks he's got the space. He's just going to play greedier.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that sort of... I wouldn't say I disagree with it, but I feel like you could do things differently as the English. So if you go for a fast castle yourself, essentially you can add a second TC through the King's Palace. And it kind of, to me, it's like it's a little bit redundant to go for that second TC in the first stage. Obviously, you get it up faster by having it up in the second age rather, but you know, at the same time, you're foregoing an age up. So it is important to note. And Hera actually back on stone as well. And he
it's a third town center for Corks going up here.
Are you? Is this a boom off that we've got right now?
I am not surprised. I mean, this is what Corks likes to do. I mean, I'm not surprised in the least. He's got 3 town centers down, and I see this happen a lot. Like, I find that in the lower ELOs, and when I say low ELO, I mean like around my rank or whatever.
Which rank are you at the moment, Fitzbro? You're around what? Around 200? Around 300?
I'm around 500 right now. I'm on a 5-game Delhi win streak, so those basically count as like I'm on a 10-game win streak. But I find that there's a lot more like early pressure sometimes in the lower ELO games versus like these higher games. Players are just playing so conservatively, trying to outgreed each other and not take the risk of, sure, he could try some kind of longbow push that ultimately would have probably failed. Now Town Center can retarget, and maybe it's part of maybe it's part of the result of the meta shifting, as it's harder to do a ram push when there's a capital town center that can retarget onto your units.
Yeah, I think that's a massive contributor. I think another really important thing to note as well is scouting. So Corix and Hera were both scouting at each other like crazy in the early game. Corix spotted that Hera was on stone, and he's obviously put 2 and 2 together and said, well, hold on a minute. If he's on stone, his economy is going to be pretty decent. I've got to at least match him. And then subsequently, Hera has seen him going onto stone, and he's like, well, hold on a minute. If he's going onto stone and I'm already getting a second TC, we may as well call it a third town center. And now both players are really having a boom off. So both players getting 3 town centers up at the moment. Not a lot of military out for either player. And I'm suspecting that we're probably going to have a castle age transition eventually coming through here. I can't imagine that these players are going to be playing too much longer in the second age.
Yeah, I'm glad we're co-casting this one, because it's one person casting back. Yep, both players are just doing the exact same thing. 3 TCs. They're collecting stone. They're building TCs. Like, well, the most action we had was that one knight just die right now on Hera's base.
Yeah, that's true. He did manage to get a villager though, so not a terrible trade. Hera is loving the English lately. He's been spamming them a lot, and I feel like it's really his, like, I would say almost his home civilization. He picks it no matter the map. Obviously, we're on Arabia here, one of the most open maps, and a map where you're quite far away from your enemy. And despite that, he still picks them. So, great to see from him. More Knights going to be running in here as well from Corix. Is he looking to play Age 2, are you thinking?
Trying to pick off a few villagers. Well, let's see. He's dropping a second stable right now. Looking at his res, I think he's just gonna keep harassing and then age up behind it is what I imagine. But I don't know. I'm always nervous to harass too much against English because they're building fire, like the fire speed on those defenses is like can just wipe out your unit so quickly if you look away at the wrong moment.
Very, very true. It's like you just look away for the blink of like a second and your whole army's gone. You're like, what the? Oh, okay.
I always think their landmarks have Gatling guns on there.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. We just, you know what, Fitz? There's going to be modding coming to Age of Empires 4 in a month or two. I want to see that mod from someone. I'm sure there's somebody out there right now who's watching this who's got the ability. Let's see a Gatling gun on the town center mod. At least the sound effect. Give us the sound effect. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. And
to be clear, it doesn't need more speed. It just needs the animation. It's already got the speed.
Yes. Maybe only for the English though, because those things absolutely fuck.
Yeah, they don't mess around. Okay, so what's that over here? A blacksmith coming down for Hera on the bottom left. A weird market placement. He just that's obviously just for exchanging res, or maybe he's gonna use that to trade.
No, it's got to be for exchanging. That's it. But Hera actually going to be going up to the next stage though. Got enough resources for it. What do you reckon he goes with? King's Palace or the White Castle? Quickly before he ages, before he clicks it.
King's Palace.
Okay, so you reckon he's going 4TC? 4TC is the call from Fitzborough right now. It's going to be the White Tower though.
No.
White Tower going down with 13 villagers right now. So
we get maximum greed.
Yeah, you know. Maybe 3 TCs is it's a little bit too many, but we'll take a look at the village account at the moment. Harris sitting on 62 villagers, his opponent sitting on 63. So both of them pretty even. So Corix yet to age up. Obviously a lot of aggression coming out from Corix. Actually a ram going down as well in the middle of the map. How do you feel about this?
He might get that town through the ram, but probably not. I do want to point out, coming into this game, I really thought we would see professional scouts, and neither player did it. Like, I thought that was the given. Like, we definitely would be seeing this.
Yeah, I was expecting that as well. I mean, both of these guys are within the top 100, and no professional scouts. We see Hera now reaching the 3rd age, actually dropping down a double stable as well, so kind of telegraphing there, Corix spotting those out, but I would suspect we're going to see some Knights coming out, but very curious that there's no professional scouts out of either player.
I really want to know what he's thinking with this single ram. What's he going to do? Go ram down this market? Or maybe the tower? I don't know.
I think he's probably going to be looking to focus down one of the town centers, but keep in mind, like, obviously rams have been nerfed in not the most recent patch, but the one that came before it. Villagers are really effective against rams, and you need to have at least enough archers to one-shot a villager. And he's only sitting on 4 archers at the moment, which is obviously nowhere near enough to do that. So there's not going to be any world that he's actually able to punish this, because if the ram ever makes it underneath that town center, it's just going to get burned down by villagers. So it seems a little bit redundant having that ram in, but I think he's actually hit the age up. Indeed, we have the age up, and now going to be going for the high trade house. Curious decision there. How do you feel about that one?
Where's he building that thing?
Over towards the back of his base.
There it is, high trade house.
It's probably it's not the best high trade house I've ever seen. It looks like he might get about 12 trees in it.
Yeah. Well, spawning some deer every 60 seconds, you know, it's a good fun eating.
That's true. That is true. He's got a lot of relics that he could potentially access as well.
I'm just watching this single ram. I'm like ready for this heroic ram to go in there and do something crazy. I don't know, with 4 archers backing it up.
I like that the archers just walk very slowly next to the ram as well. Look at them go. Look at them go. They got no clue that the longbow's right behind him. But it's looking more and more in Hera's favor at this point. Obviously, he's pulling ahead in the score lead. But the big thing for me is he's able to repel every single attack that's come in here. You can see those Knights are going to be going down as well. Town Center doing a great job. Going to be able to pick off all 3 of those early Knights down towards the
Meanwhile, Hera
west.
is raiding actually in Corix base, but right before he came in, right as these 2 wooden fortresses got completed. So he did pick up a villager or 2. Oh, these were max they were filled up. Man, he must have saw those knights coming across the field and built these.
Yeah, I think he
3 villages
probably
there.
had a bit of line of sight advantage coming in for him. But yeah, Hera looking pretty decent at this point in time. Corix now clicking up to the next age and managing to get up. Has he dropped down a monastery? I would suspect he immediately drops down a monastery. But it doesn't look like we've actually got one at this point. So
is this a common Rus 8? I haven't seen the High Trade House very often. I feel like most people go with the Abbey of the Trinity.
Yeah, so it depends on the sort of the philosophy behind the player and the build order that they're going for. So typically you would go for the High Trade House if you're not the first to age up. So you can reasonably expect that players, especially at this level, are going to be looking to get those relics and secure them. You can see that Hera's got 2 outside his base. We've got 2 outside down to the south of Corix's base. So you would expect that they would go about securing those relics as soon as possible. And so if you're not the first one to age up, you're at a disadvantage there. But look, I think the Rus are a bit of a different kettle of fish. They are a civilization, obviously, with their warrior monks. They're able to get out onto the map a lot faster, able to defend themselves. So I still think it's a very viable landmark, even if you're not first up, as long as it's within like that little, minute or 2 window apart, or like after your enemy has aged up, if that makes sense.
Now, you killing those deer, does that adds your bounty, right?
Correct. Yeah. So eventually you will hit 500.
Part of the inspiration of like, okay, this is his way of getting to that bounty.
Yeah, there's a couple of other ways that he's yet to do it. So the Huntable Boar up towards the north. You can see it's still roaming around, still alive. That right there, that's 75 bounty. Down towards the south side of the map, there's another one there. So that's another 75. So that's 150 bounty that he could potentially grab as the Rus, or even that Hera could be denying from his enemy at this stage.
He opened up with these early knights, and I've seen, I think it was Casfa do it, but I've seen Rus players open with early knights with the sole purpose of going out and killing boars with those knights, and I think that's a strong play.
Yep, I like that play a lot. I've seen that as well. It delays the castle age a little bit, so they go for I think it's a couple of scouts with a knight, and then so the scout is it does the tanking, and then the knight does the killing. So that's normally the way that you see it. But speaking of killing, it looks like we've got Corix in a bit of a difficult spot.
He's in a pickle. He's got this ram. Crossbows are not really, they're counted to knights, but there's so many longbows. Like those longbows are going to just pick off those crossbows.
Yeah, Corix having a bit of a tough time. I like that the archers were still walking with the battering ram as well. A lot of military production here for Corix.
2k food in the bank.
A huge amount stacked up for him at the moment. He's actually going for an emergency keep getting dropped down, but it's towards the back of the base, away from the majority of his infrastructure.
Where are the walls?
Where are the horse archers?
Walls? We talked up all your walls, and he doesn't have any walls. I don't understand. He's given up. Maybe this is a Smurf account. This can't be him.
This can't be the real Corix. Surely not. No, it is. This is, I can confirm, this is rank 75 Corix going up against rank 33 Hera. So these guys are neck and neck when it comes to their skill. Very, very evenly matched. But look at the front of Corix's base. So much military production here. 6 stables, 3 archery ranges, and yet no units coming out at all. He's only got
I almost feel like
crossbows.
He's trying to age up. Like, why is he has so much res? He's still, even right now, not training a whole lot of units.
Yeah.
Like, is he trying to age?
I'm curious, how is Hera, how has he worked this lead out? Because he's in an incredible lead at this point in time. I mean, realistically, it doesn't look like a lot on the scoreboard, but in the game, it actually translates to a significant... We've got Lancers now coming in on top, or rather horse, or rather, what are those things? Veteran horsemen.
Horsemen.
That's the one. But the crossbows are just going to be having such a difficult time. I really feel like he needs to add mangonels to this to be able to deal with the longbows, and we don't actually see any of them coming in. Townsend are going to be going down here. He needs to be careful, and take a look at the reinforcements that we've got coming in from the north here from Hera, or rather from the west. That is a lot of units.
I'm not sure about making crossbows against English in general. Like, they're going to have a ton of longbows, which can just easily pick those units off. I don't know if that's the play as Rus against this.
I feel like the appropriate play would have just been to go like mass Lancer or mass Knight, and then just mix in a Mangonel or 2. And then, you're going to try and overwhelm your enemy. If they've got spears, then you target that with your mangonels. And then, he's going to have to go into Springalds, and then that's going to require you to subsequently counter it, with like scouts or micro, and villagers now over towards the middle of the map going to get taken out here as well. Corix in a bit of a tough spot here.
Oh boy, poor Corix. He didn't make his walls. He needed walls.
He needed walls, and look, I will be honest, he had a pretty decent game plan. And speaking of game plan, now we've got a huge amount of horsemen coming in here on top of this. A nice little split there from Hera. He's doing a great job. Now the horsemen are going to be fighting up against those knights. But take a look at the archers, the longbowmen, doing their best to actually focus down the crossbows. Hera doing a really decent job with the micro here, so ignoring those horsemen and just focusing down the crossbows instead with the archers. Really nice move by him.
I really wonder, like, Cork's had all that res in the bank, and now he's obviously just kind of been bleeding some units. Like, if he had just made a giant cav mass, whether it was horsemen and knights, and then maybe even a few crossbows behind that if he wanted to, like, I mean, a lot of cavalry would have done really well against him. We haven't seen any spearmen.
Yeah. Look, the more I see this matchup, the more I start to think that the English might be the Achilles heel of the Rus. And one of the things I guess start to posit is that now that the Rus are becoming one of the strongest civs in the game, in my opinion, currently the strongest civ in the game, does that potentially mean that we are going to see the English rise up, Fitzbro?
I thought English are pretty high up there. I still think they're extremely versatile civilization. I mean, they've got man-at-arms and longbows in the Second Age. They've got some, I mean, we saw here some good boom opportunities. They've got some good landmarks. I think they're a solid civilization, so I definitely think so.
Well, Fitzbro, that was a pretty incredible game. Thank you very much for joining me. For anybody who's watching this on YouTube, make sure you check out Fitzbro. I'm going to leave a link in the description over to Fitzbro's channel. Check him out because, as you can tell by his voice, he's an absolutely enthusiastic caster, and he loves a little bit of Age of Empires.
Oh, yeah, and plenty of underpowered daily action for you.
All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.
See ya.